Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm keeping it real.
This is episode 18.
Boom.
And damn, so we're going into the, 4-month mark?
Yeah, right around there.
That's awesome.
We're just barely legal.
Oof. Oof.
But for tonight's episode, we have a very special guest with us tonight. We have, drumroll, we got Alan Both from Major League Exotics. Man, how are you doing this evening?
Good, guys. How's it going?
I'm
Pretty
doing
good.
Fantastic. Sweaty, very sweaty, but
Yeah.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's very hot.
This last week has been oppressive. It's been unnecessarily hot.
We live in the Northeast. We don't live in Florida. I don't know why it's so hot.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know.
Seriously.
I don't know.
I was just in North Carolina a couple days ago, and they were like in the middle of a massive heat wave, like basically 105 degrees every day. And I was like, I'm glad I came now. Sheesh.
See, that's the type of weather where I'm like, oh, I wanted to come down here. Maybe I'll do some herping. And then you're like 105 every day. You're like, oh, nothing is going to be out.
Yeah, no. No, I have to be out at like 4 a.m. to find anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, man.
So, Alan, I've known you for quite a long time. I always see you at the expos. You've been vending for quite a while now, and you do a lot of your own projects. And one of the projects that really geeks me out and I love checking in on you with is your Moellendorffi, your 100 flower snakes. And we were talking a little bit before the show that you've got some good stuff going on with that project.
Yeah, I have some. This year, I have a patternless het hypo male that was finally big enough to breed.
Ooh.
And I think I got a good breeding from him. So waiting on some eggs from those. Those guys always seem to breed a little later for me.
Mm-hmm. They're such a cool snake. If you haven't checked them out, you should Google them and check a picture. Pause the podcast and Google a picture because they're such a cool looking snake.
Yeah, they're really cool animals. I enjoy them. They get pretty large too. People don't realize that they get so big. I mean, the male pushes 7 feet. It's a pretty big snake.
Damn, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's quite impressive.
Oh, but you work with a lot of colubrids. Did you say that those are your favorites, or what would you say is your favorite snakes you work with?
Yeah, those are my favorites. I'm partial to some of the Asian rat snakes. I have some really nice Mandarin rats. I have blue beauties, and they're just they're full of piss and vinegar. Those things. So they're pretty cool to work with, but they'll keep you on edge when you open up the cage. For
100%.
sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
They get so big. They're giant. Like, if you haven't worked a big blue beauty, it is like, I don't even know what to compare it to because they're huge. They're like, I've worked a couple that are like 8.5, almost 9 feet long, and I'm like, this thing is unnecessarily large.
The male I have on those he's a good 8 feet for sure.
Oh.
And he just he's fired up when he comes out of the cage.
Their mouth is so big.
Yeah,
it's like handling a cobra.
Yes, we joke because like we have one blue beauty at Nerd, and the only reason we've really kept it is because Kevin's like, it's great for educational shows and whatever, and nobody wants to deal with it because it's a piece of crap.
It's just like he waits for you to put your guard down a little bit, and then he turns around and is like, guess what?
Yep. Oh,
that's why it's good for educational purposes, keeping your toes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Today I'm going to show you how to get annihilated or not get annihilated
Here's how you
by a
use
massive colubrid.
A 3.5-foot snake hook and still get bit in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
Oh man. So Alan, for those who don't know you or your kind of background, what got you into keeping reptiles? Was it like early childhood, just fascination, or was it something that developed over time?
It was early childhood. I worked as like a junior naturalist in a park when I was a kid. I was like 8 years old, and I went there and volunteered to clean mouse cages, and so I could get to play with the black rat snake that they had that's indigenous to New Jersey where I live here.
Yeah.
So that kind of got me into it a little bit. Then I caught a chain king as a kid. I kept that for a little while, and by the time I was old enough to have my own money and a job, 15 or 16 years old, I was, buying reptiles and getting them to breed. Making snake racks out of conduit and plywood, and using the old fashioned heat tape that's made to keep pipes from freezing.
Oh yeah.
So we used to take metal conduit and we would put the 2 sets of metal conduit, so a hard plastic shoebox would fit in between the bars, and then we would take the old fashioned heat tape, and it was really made to only go to about 42 degrees, so that it would keep pipes from freezing. You wrap it around pipes in your house.
Yeah.
And it kept your pipes from freezing. So we would cut the thermostat off of that thing, which probably is pretty dangerous.
Who needs those things?
And then we would just wire it up to a rheostat, so we would get 100 degrees, and then we would just control it with the rheostat, and that was the primitive snake racks that I made when I was 16 years old.
That's amazing.
OG.
That's like the mid '80s though. There were no snake racks. There were no
right.
There was no nothing. Had a clear Phillips plastic box, and soldered some holes in it and put it in between some conduit and some plywood on the ends and some heat tape and a rheostat, and
that was the
beginnings of keeping snakes in boxes.
Yeah.
And I started out with colubrids. The first things I ever bred were corn snakes and then king snakes, and I still breed them today because I like them. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like most of the people we've had on the show have basically been like from a young age, just infatuated, and I think that's the coolest thing. I mean, I certainly enjoy hearing about people who come into the hobby a little bit later because they like saw a video or somebody dragged them to a reptile show and like that was cool. But I never get tired of hearing the stories of like, man, when I was like 5 years old, I found this snake on the side of the road. It was the best freaking thing ever, and I've been fucking addicted ever since.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, when I was 8 years old, I worked in this little county park, and they had a little nature center, and they had diamondback terrapins and the indigenous animals in New Jersey. They had diamondback terrapins, and they had box turtles, and they had chain kings, and black rat snakes and pine snakes, and I was just infatuated with that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, once I got a little older, I got a job at a pet store when I was 15 years old, and I eventually got some stake in that pet store. I went from the assistant manager to the manager to having some skin in the game with it as well. And
for sure.
And then we had pet stores for a while. That was the mid '80s through the late '90s. I was always in pet stores, but back then I was always breeding some snakes and stuff. And in 1998, we closed the 2 stores because my partner and I just kind of, we were a little burned out at that point.
Yeah.
And he went on to do aquarium maintenance stuff, and basically I created a wholesale company called Reptile Kingdom, which I'm sure that's when I met Rob. I think when I had that company going.
Yep.
And doing all the reptile expos, and I mean I went to the very first National Reptile Breeders Expo, the very first Hamburg show, the very first Pottstown, Pennsylvania show. Like I remember doing those shows, and it's amazing what it's become from what it started as. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah,
yeah,
that's
for
just
sure.
Crazy. I remember like going to like really early Manchester shows, and it was like in the little gymnasium part of the hotel.
The armory room.
Yeah, and it literally had like a basketball floor on it. There's like the wood floor in there.
Yeah,
and it never had like a ton of vendors. I mean, it had a decent amount of vendors, but it was never like packed like the other places now. And just seeing it evolve and grow has been really crazy because they used to just do the Manchester show, I think twice. They did a spring show and a fall show, and you like saved up all your money, and then you went to the fall show and blew all your money at the fall show, and then you save up until spring, and then you blow all your money at the spring show.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, I've ended that show from the very first one that was in that armory, and I think I had like the same spot that I have at the new Manchester show. Actually, like I had the end cap that's like right in the front.
Right at the front.
Yeah.
That was the one that I had. Walked in that big garage door into that armory, and that's where my spot was, right in the front there.
Yeah, I think you were on the left,
tables.
And there was like Regal on the right.
Yeah, Regal was to the right. I was kind of dead center.
Yeah. Dude, oh my goodness, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Not a long time ago, but it was like That was a while
making
ago.
me feel really old that I, started breeding snakes in 1986.
You know what? What's terrible? I was born in '89.
I got you beat. I was born in '92.
Ooh.
So
you guys are making me feel really old now.
Oh man.
But so like when you had the wholesale company going and you were getting back into that, was it always like get some stuff in for you and then get some stuff in for the company, or was it just like, I got this stuff, I can work, it's cool, I see it at work, and then you weren't really crazy about picking out?
Yeah, I mean, I did breed, like, when I had the wholesale company going, I was breeding colubrids, I was breeding different things, I was breeding Brazilian rainbow boas.
Yep.
Things that I kind of liked, I continued to breed, but, I would get stuff in to sell, and, even though I liked it, you just can't keep everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, unfortunately, I like everything, so, and I can't keep everything, so I got to pick the things that I like the best to keep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what kind of gets people when they're first getting like into the hobby, when they're getting excited about it, and people who are just joining the hobby, as opposed to people who have like been in it for a little while. When you first get, your first snake or your first 2 snakes, you're like, I need 157 of these. And then once you had 157, you're like, maybe I need 20 of them. Maybe 20.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 is okay.
Yeah, once you clean 157 consecutively every week for an entire year, then maybe I need a couple less.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Exactly. Oof.
Although that's not the case with me, because now I got my facility set up to breed again, and I think I have room for I should be able to keep about 700 adult colubrids in the space that I have. So
that's a lot.
That's awesome, though. That is awesome. And
I'm
frightening.
slowly rebuilding that.
That's really cool though, and you've got a lot of projects that you're super excited about, and that's what makes it easier, because if you're just doing it like a lot of ball python people get into it just to flip it and make that buck, you're gonna get pissed off having to do 150, 200, or 700 snakes. It's just not going to be fulfilling. But if you've got stuff that you're actually interested in and stuff that you actually like, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it makes it so you don't really mind to go clean it, take care of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you see it hatch, it's all that much,
Yes.
No matter what it's worth, anything that hatches in your possession is just a cool experience, I think,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I never get tired of seeing something hatch, be it a ball python or a corn snake or anything like that. It's still an awesome feeling.
Yeah, I had a cow king clutch hatch yesterday, and all 11 eggs hatched, and I just can't get enough of looking at them, seeing I bred a high white mosaic to like a high white cow king, and I got some crazy stuff. I got some crazy high white mosaics. I got some of the traditional mosaic cow kings that have the black back with the the white pattern that goes down the sides.
I love those things so much, dude.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I like them.
Oh, they're so cool. That's like, have you seen the wide stripe cow king project yet?
Yeah, those are awesome. I got to find somebody I can get in my hands.
Dude, I just saw Joey Muggleson just hatch some out, and I'm trying to sneak in there and get a couple of them because, oh my god, dude, I saw some of those and I was like, okay, I've kept cow kings before, but I've never had like that. Oh, I really need that, and I saw those wide stripes, and I was like, okay, I really need that. Yeah. I need that. That thing is amazing.
I have a pair of them growing up that I picked, like hand picked a pair just to keep for myself that are probably 96% white. They have like a little black spot on their head.
Whoa!
Like a couple little black scales here and there, but
yeah,
even the bellies are white on them. They're just awesome.
That's awesome.
That's so freaking cool.
And they're snow white. They're real desert phase. They're not
those yellowy
with banana. They're not yellowy. Yeah, they're white.
Oh,
hell yeah!
Dude, that's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, there's nothing that beats the look of a nice black and white cow king. That's a true
the crisp white and black.
Exactly.
Yeah, the contrast on it is so nice.
Natural contrast, dude. Like, I don't know how you can't be drawn to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the black and white, the true desert phase that are jet black and paper white that's the first king snake I ever bought. And I bought them at the very first National Reptile Breeders Expo.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I wanted to get one of those when I was younger, and then it was easier for me to convince my parents to get a ball python because they just sit there and they don't do anything. So I like
versus the crazy little cow king that's
either
like,
want
I'm
to
gonna
chew on
eat
me.
you.
Yeah. And then after I got that, I got into some other stuff. So I didn't end up getting the cow king. And so like I'm looking now and I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I missed the boat on so many of those things. Like just seeing the true like 50-50 like paper white and jet black cow kings. I was like, oh, those things.
You don't see them that often
Nope.
anymore. I mean, you're starting to see them more because I think people, the colubrid market has kind of resurged a little bit.
Oh yeah.
In the past 2 or 3 years, but for a while it was just ball python, and nothing else. And the colubrids kind of got left behind, and now it's kind of even hard to find certain colubrids anymore. That I'm trying to find stuff to rebuild my collection now that I have this room going.
Yep.
And I can't find an albino prairie king, can't find a mole king, can't find an albino speckled king. Things that I like them because they're interesting and they're not very common. But I can't even find them to buy to raise up to start up some breeding of them again.
Well, fun fact that you should mention that we do have some albino prairie kings at Nerd. I just haven't posted them on the website.
Really?
Yeah, I'll shoot you a message afterwards and I'll send you some pictures and stuff. But I was looking at for the what are they, the Xanthic blonde subox, the Transpecos rats, and I'm like, there's hardly anyone who's got them right now. I remember seeing those things at every expo always, and they were what, $100, maybe $150.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, not anymore. I saw some people who are breeding some this season, so I'm waiting on eggs to hatch. But I was like, how come those used to be everywhere, but I cannot find them now?
Yeah, and that's where I'm at right now with vertebralis, the Cape Gophers. I remember.
Yeah, I've been searching those out too.
Dude, if you find anybody that's got them, fucking let me know. I found one on Morph Market and fucking scooped it as soon as I saw it. I was like, "Hey, is it still there? Here's take my money.
My money. Yeah.
Take my freaking money."
Vertebralis are a touchy species. Just make sure you don't feed it anything too big or too often.
For sure.
Because you'll wind up with a puking disaster.
Yes, yeah. Dude, I had a trio back in 2013, and I had to sell them because I had some stuff come up and just had to sell a few things, and as soon as I shipped them out, I was like, this was a mistake.
Why did I do that?
This was a freaking mistake. And as soon as I started like trying to find them again, I was like, do they just not exist anymore? Like,
exactly.
I found
it's been hard. I've been trying to pick up more Pituophis myself. And, I got some albino Sonoran gophers. I have northern pines. I have black pines. I have Mexican pines, Stepijani, that are pretty nice that I'm growing up. So those are pretty cool. But it's just hard finding. I've been looking for some other gophers, especially the Cape Go. I love those Cape Gophers.
Oh, dude,
they're so
they're
pretty,
so amazing, and so full of anger.
Not as much as the blue beauty snakes, but
True, very true. Yeah. No, when I got that little girl in, as soon as I took the container out of the box, I just got that shh, and I was like, I love you already.
I just think that it needs, like, as social media is picking up, as people are sharing the things that they're keeping and what they like, you're seeing more people getting into that sort of stuff, because it's like, okay, I've seen ball pythons in just about every color now, besides like maybe blue and green, but just about everything else. Okay, now what else? What else is there? And it's like, once you start to branch out a little bit and look around and see some of the other things that people are doing and working with and what they like, it's like...
And realize that there are blue and green colubrids.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I saw a video of this guy who had a big Boiga cyania, and the thing is just like as green as a green tree python. It's got these giant silver eyes on it with the vertical pupils on it, and I was like, that thing's fucking amazing. It's so cool. Like I see the pictures of the little babies and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's like a little orange and it's got the little green head. But seeing like a big adult one, I was like, oh man, that is such a cool snake.
Unfortunately, I can't have that stuff here, so it's sad.
New Jersey.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
New Jersey.
Oh man, well, how strict are your regs out there?
Well, Well, we have some stupid laws. Like we have it's illegal to sell turtles and tortoises in New Jersey.
Oh, wait,
just flat
tortoises
out?
too?
That's probably our dumbest law, pretty much. It's a Board of Health regulation that was from probably the 70s. Yeah. No, it's from the 70s, and it's something that just doesn't get looked at or turned over at any point. It's just it's some congressman's kid put a turtle in his mouth and got salmonella.
Sick,
went crazy and wrote a bill.
Yeah, sheesh.
That sucks.
So so we don't even have the 4-inch law. It's just basically no turtles, no tortoises.
I can understand turtles because they're swimming in their own poop, but like tortoises, come on.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but no kid's putting a 4-inch turtle in his mouth. So
literally,
why not just adopt the federal law? It would just make it so much better.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
That's one thing. Corn snakes are tough, especially when you breed corn snakes like I do. They have to have red eyes. They can't have normal colored eyes because we have a corn snake that's indigenous here, and it's protected. So they just made all corn snakes that don't have red eyes illegal because they're afraid people will poach them if they allow that to go on. So that's another bummer.
Damn.
Another bummer for the pet trade is axolotls are illegal.
What?
Yeah, they're illegal in Maine
too.
too.
You can't own an axolotl in New Jersey, and the reason for that is a normal color phase axolotl looks just like a larval tiger salamander, and tiger salamanders are an endangered species in New Jersey. So they just put the whole kibosh on that situation. Damn. And then of course no crocodilians, no venomous.
Yeah.
No rear fanged. Which is fairly typical for a lot of states. I mean, that's not something that's so out there.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely see that kind of blanket on crocodilians and venomous stuff through a lot of the Northeast.
Honestly, I've worked with both crocodilians and I've worked with venomous snakes too. And it's not really a bad law when you see some of the people out there that are
when you've been to the Hamburg show.
Animals, honestly.
Yeah.
See people
when I got to watch a 14-year-old kid walking around with a gaboon viper in a cup.
Yeah, dude. That show is scary sometimes.
Dude, I remember vending some show in the Poconos with Adam Harris, and as we were setting up, I just remember like it was like some kid who had like one of the first people through the door like came in and was like, "Do you have any copperheads?" And I'm like, "Where's your fucking parent?"
Literally.
Like, you are 12 years old at best. Like, why are you asking me for a copperhead? No.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I wish
but there's some full-grown adults that shouldn't own venomous snakes too. Don't get me wrong.
For sure.
There's a lot of them. And the overlapping of the people who own them and who shouldn't is pretty big. It's a pretty big circle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just like I wish that there was a way to get permits for venomous snakes in New England, because they will not, like every place in New England, they're like, haha, no, that is terrible. And I'm like, but they don't kill that many people. And they're like, but it's a snake, though. And I'm like, but dogs kill more people. And they're like, but it's a snake, though.
New Jersey's the same way. And, unfortunately, when you start comparing things, you just open it up for more things to become illegal. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be careful when you go down those roads, because, you could be setting up a whole nother avenue for them to go after.
If they ever tried to ban dogs, there would be another Revolutionary War. People would lose their
probably
minds.
so, yeah.
You can't ban the cute and cuddly things, but the snakes, man.
Yeah, snakes are. Yeah. It's okay, It's okay. Do what you gotta do.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It makes me very angry. I just see like videos on Facebook of people training their dogs to like jump over 12-foot walls and like get into cars and shit. And I'm like, how come they can have that without a permit, but I can't get a permit for a copperhead? What is that?
Yeah, right.
I don't understand.
Oh boy. While we're talking about laws, let's give a quick shout out to USARK, who is constantly fighting the battle for us who go through this tumultuous time, especially with everything that's going on in the world.
That's right. Hey, if you're listening, you're not a USARK member, $5 a month, do it.
Do it right now. Pause the episode, go sign up for USARK, and then come back and press start.
Yeah. Do it. Do it.
So do you do a lot of field herping, or that's something you don't really? I mean, you love fishing, so I mean, you probably see some herps while you're out there doing that sort of stuff.
When I have time, Rob. I mean, I
Yeah.
love to go field herping when I have time.
Yeah.
But it's I kind of got a lot going on.
Yeah.
I feel that the last like 3 years, I haven't gone field herping hardly at all. I think I went out once in 2019. And then this year I made an effort. I was like, I'm going field herping more. So I've been out like probably a half dozen times, or maybe, probably around a little more than a half dozen times in the spots where I know I can find stuff. And I've seen some really good stuff so far this year, and I'm pretty excited about that. I've seen spotted turtles, I've seen wood turtles, I've seen copperheads, I've seen, good amount of stuff, water snakes, everything.
My last field herping adventure was watching Kevin swim in a pond. And
a trash pond.
The trash pond, and it was amazing.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
But like what?
So you got some video footage of that.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
It's
I'll
on
have to
YouTube.
send you the link because it's
Oh,
wonderful.
Oh boy. It's something else.
Yeah. And it was out of nowhere, which is even better. Because he just happened to be in the mood to be a little wacky. And I was like, we got to capitalize on this. Roll the cameras.
Start rolling your camera.
Roll the cameras. Oh, gosh.
But what would you say is like your favorite thing to find out where you're at? Because like if diamondback terrapins were more common up here, I feel like I would not stop looking for them because they're so beautiful to me.
All right, so Rob, come to New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, dude, don't tempt me.
Around Mother's Day in May next year.
Okay.
And I will take you and show you diamondback terrapins by the hundreds.
Oh,
damn.
Yes.
Damn.
I mean, there are a couple spots where if you time it out right, if you follow the weather correctly,
yeah.
I mean, you can see. I'm telling you, you can see hundreds of diamondback terrapins digging nests.
I would be so geeked out.
It's extremely, extremely interesting to watch them and video them and photograph them digging a nest because they dig a really, really, interesting nest. Basically, they come out of the water, which, they're coming out of like bays and tributaries. They're coming out of brackish water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they come up onto these dirt roads, and the dirt is hard as a rock.
It's packed. Yeah, it's super
packed. It's packed in, because cars drive on a lot of these roads, and the dirt is just packed in there, solid. So basically, they come up on land, the females, and before they do anything, they expel their entire bladder, and they soak the area of dirt to soften it up.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they take their back legs, and they dig the complete nest with their back feet, and the entrance hole where the eggs are laid is probably, I don't know, maybe the size of a lemon cut in half.
Wow.
And they dig down into the nest with their back legs, and they dig the dirt out. And inside the nest, it's almost like if you cut a cross section of the dirt, it's a little tiny hole, and it's almost like a flask on the bottom where it bows out. So there's a place for the eggs to go. And a big female will lay, 12, 15 eggs sometimes.
That is fucking awesome.
And as soon as they start digging, as soon as the back legs start going, and the animal's digging, they go into a trance. So like if you pick that turtle up mid digging, its legs will keep going like it's digging.
Wow.
Like it won't even know what's going on. It won't even know you picked it up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And then they deposit the eggs and they cover them over, and then we find about 100 nests everywhere that are dug up by foxes that eat them all.
No.
Oh yeah, you find shells. The numbers of diamondback terrapin shells you find along the road, and I just go and I look at them and I photograph them. I never, as much as I love them, I never have an interest to poach them or take them.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting to watch them do it. It's so interesting to see them in their natural environment. They're such beautiful animals.
It's so hard. Like they're probably right up there with spotted turtles for me. And spotted turtles are so beautiful. They're so gorgeous. And every time I see a spotted turtle, I'm like, this is a very special moment, and I'm just gonna like soak it in because I just love the way they look. If spotted turtles were like legal to keep up here, they would be the perfect pet turtle.
Yeah.
They like don't get too big, super pretty. They're all black with they got like orange and yellow on their face. They're just like, oh, they're
dreamy. Yeah, they're beautiful. Spotted turtles, love spotted turtles.
And then the diamondback terrapins, the colors are just like amazing.
Yeah, the diamondback terrapins are fun to go herping for in New Jersey, and probably my next favorite thing is to go look for pine snakes. You know, to see pine snakes digging nests in the wild is also a completely surreal and interesting thing to watch and photograph and film, because pine snakes are the only snake in that family in Pituophis that actually really digs the nest. And that's why they have that big rostral plate on the front of their face.
Right.
They take that big rostral plate and they use it like a shovel, you know, and they dig probably like on a 45-degree angle, and they dig, you know, 3, sometimes 4 feet down into the ground.
What?
Okay, yeah. So you can take Rob to go find diamondback terrapins, and then you can take me to go find some Pituophis.
Yeah, I'm down for all of it.
You guys come down here and I'll take you.
All right.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's amazing, though.
It's herping the pine barrens with Alan.
Fuck yeah. I am so about that, dude. I love field herping. It's just like getting to experience or just like see these animals out in their natural habitat is always mind-blowing to me. Just be like, you have been doing your thing for years and years and years and years, and you know, you're just surviving out here in the elements. You don't worry about, you know, bills or any of the crap that Donald Trump is doing or any of that crap. It's nothing that has to do with anything but just surviving to see the next day. And just like to see their natural colors in their natural habitat is always super interesting to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't even explain to you how a pine snake uses its nose to dig this. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, because your gopher snakes, all your bull snakes, they use gopher holes. That's why they're called gopher snakes.
Right,
so
right.
They use holes that are actually dug by another animal. They're not actually digging their own nest to lay their eggs. You know.
Right.
That's why northern pine snakes are just they're like one of my number one. I just think they're just amazing animals after seeing what they do. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember seeing some like those nice classic like black and white northern pines.
Yeah, I breed those.
That's another one that you don't see anymore. They're so beautiful, dude. If more people saw those, they would want to keep them because they're so amazing looking.
Yeah, every year I sell out of those pretty quick because people are really into them.
They're so cool.
They're wonderful.
I should have some really nice high white ones this year.
Dude, you got to send me pictures when they're born. They're
sure.
born so giant. They're huge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're born huge.
Yeah. I mean, I can certainly appreciate that.
The eggs are ridiculous.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Dude, I think about like breeding corn snakes. I'm like, oh, look at this little like earthworm sized thing. That's kind of cool. And then like one of the guys who comes by the shop all the time, he bred garter snakes this year, and so he's got baby garter snakes. I'm like, these are tiny. What?
Yeah.
They're so
garter
small.
snakes are so tiny.
Yeah. Now compare that
to
a pine
fucking
snake.
pine snake. It's born. It's a size of a baby reticulated python almost,
Yeah, right.
and you're like, what the hell? They're just such a cool
Garter
snake.
snakes are another thing that you don't see too often anymore. Like a lot of the different, localities or some of the more interesting ones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of been on the hunt for some of those, and I just don't see them. You know.
Yup. There are some people who are working on breeding stuff right now, and Emily, my girlfriend, has been like amassing a collection of garter snakes. So she's got like the blue Puget Sound. She's got California red sides. She's got the Oregon red spots, dude. Oregon red spotted garter snakes are one of the most beautiful colubrids, hands down. In my opinion, they're one of the most beautiful.
I think Puget Sounds are beautiful.
Oh,
Puget
yeah.
Sounds, the blue on those things is really, really nice animal.
It's striking. It always amazes me, like, especially up this way, our garter snakes aren't really the most impressive, So you hear garter snake in any term, and you're just like, it's whatever.
Black
and then
yellow
you see something that's literally just like blue, or it's so vibrantly red, you're like, that can't be a naturally occurring thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. If you told me, 10 or 15 years ago, hey, you're going to see a garter snake that's going to blow your mind, I'd be like, get the fuck
out
of
here,
here,
dude. I don't care.
What are you saying?
What is it going to be, albino? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, the albinos are pretty, but a regular California red-sided garter snake is like, it glows. They absolutely glow.
Yeah.
I can't even get over it because like just
amazing,
seeing some of the colors that come on them is I never would have expected.
Yeah, naturally.
I mean, I do love breeding the snakes, but I mean, after doing all the wholesale for all the years and still doing the shows and having the retail store, and you know, I get in a lot of really unique animals too. You know, which is so that's why, like I said, I like everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm extreme. As Rob knows, I'm extremely fond of Europlatus, and you know, and I took, you know, I take great care in the Europlatus that I get in to acclimate them, you know, and give somebody a quality animal that they can put into a collection, you know, and I really go out of my way to try and do that, you know, so they're not getting a fresh import that's kind of, you know, banged up. You know, I like to acclimate them, I like to hydrate them, you know, so.
Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of people don't take that care, and it's like, you know, it shows in your animals that you care about them. Whenever 100%. I go to your table at an expo, I always know that I'm going to see good stuff.
Yes.
100%. I appreciate that. That's what we're going for.
Yeah. No, I always know I can make a pit stop at Alan's table and be like, what's cool and unusual? And there's always a handful of things. Yeah. And I'm like, I wasn't expecting to see that today.
He's like, you got to see this over here.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So I know you guys have a lot of really cool stuff at Nerd, but do you have a lot of cool stuff in the pet store there too?
I mean, every once in a while we get a few things that are I'd say like odds and ends and but still like pique the interest, like the diamondback water snakes.
Yeah, those are kind of cool.
Those were interesting.
When I was downstairs, like I work mostly upstairs now, so I do a lot of the photographing for the website and like posting ads and stuff. So when I was downstairs full time, I like to order a lot of weird stuff so that it would keep me interested while I was working down there. So we used to have a ton of really weird stuff, and then now the people who are downstairs are kind of more like geared towards bread and butter, just kind of stuff that the normal customer would want. So we don't have as much of the crazy stuff as we have had in the past, but we still got some weird stuff down there right now. I'm trying to think of like what other unusual things we've got downstairs right now.
In my store, Major League Exotic Pets, shameless plug, Jackson, New Jersey.
Nope, keep plugging
it. We try and get, I try and have just stuff that piques people's interest and different stuff. Like we have a huge tarantula clientele now. I have like,
hell yeah.
I have 100+ species of spiderlings in stock. I have a case filled with, I have a case filled with anything you could, think of. I got, Pseudotherophos apophysa, like true ones, captive bred and true captive bred glad-bird ears, sturmi and, true blonde eye and, a lot of different kinds of pokies and some really cool stuff. And I've been getting into like some of the, like the true spiders, like black widows and things lately.
Yeah.
I got Australian black widows and Mexican black widows and ornate brown widows.
Dude, yes. Dude,
some crazy stuff.
There's some really awesome true spiders out there, and like the widows are cool to me. But I started keeping huntsmen a couple years ago, like the Australian huntsmen. Oh my god, they're so cool. They're so cool. The only thing I don't like about them is that they live like a year and a half or 2 years and then they die, and I'm like, oh, but I love that spider.
Yeah, that's the worst part. The lifespan on them is kind of bad.
And then if you end up getting males, it's shorter and blah 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 and all that stuff. It's just like
I got this Madagascar rainbow lynx spider the other day. It's crazy. It's like all intensely green and iridescent. It's the craziest looking little spider.
That is so cool.
Pretty interesting.
Oh, now I'm all geeked out. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go down to the store. I gotta see some spiders. Because like I said, when I was downstairs, we had a lot of different variety of different stuff. But now, since it's like just regular pet store employees, we do a lot of like the common stuff. So we do curly hairs. We got like striped knees, the Simani. We got the Albopolosa. We got your pink toes and stuff like that. But we don't usually go too crazy with the spiders because there's not like we have not
the clientele just isn't really there.
Yeah, we haven't had as much of that, but we've got. I'm trying to think of what we got that's unusual downstairs in the pet store right now. I mean, we got some emerald tree boas down there. Like I said, we got the albino prairie kings down there. We've got.
I got some emeralds here. I got some yellow monitors that are really nice right now.
Dude, we sell out of Quince monitors like it's nobody's business. Yeah. If we get those in, they're as soon as they're ready to go, they're gone.
Nice.
Yeah, people I got
like a big 8-foot blackhead python right now in the store.
What?
That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
Dude, that's super cool.
Man, now I'm trying to. I'm going through the racks.
We got prehensile tailed skinks, the monkey crucia.
Yep.
Yeah, I get them whenever I've been able to get them again past couple of years. I don't know. I bought last year I bought a 10 lot. And it was like, what? Like, why do you have 10 of these in the pet store? People were coming in.
Those were frustrating for me because they're a really cool thing, and you don't see them as much nowadays as you used to in the past. And I would get customers all the time who would come in and they'd be like, "Why is this lizard $1,000?" And I'm like, "Have you ever seen one of those before?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "That's why."
Yeah.
You've never even heard of this lizard before?
Yep.
Yeah.
When I had my wholesale company, I used to buy those things from a big importer when it was legal to import them.
Yep.
And I used to buy them in a 50 lot for $20 each.
Yep.
For adults, and they'll be like, "Oh, this one's gravid. Put that one aside. We could sell that baby for easy $150."
Yep.
Let's all have a moment of silence for all the people wanting prehensile tail skinks that are like, "You got them for how much?"
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, it was craziness. I mean, I brought in a shipment of ornate Uromastics once, a 50 lot of those, and they were like $35.
No,
full on adults, full on blue and yellow adults.
Oh
my God.
Oh man. Oh, there are some upset people that are going to listen to this.
Probably.
How much?
Then they're going to go look on Fauna.
Those were the days, fella. Those were
Yeah, for sure. Oof.
The one importer that brought in the Madagascar, I remember getting 100 lots of gold mantellas for $400.
Oh my God!
That hurts because I love mantellas. Oh gosh.
Oh man.
Man.
So in all those years of bringing in stuff, was there anything that you got in that you were just like, whoa, and it just like really blew you away?
Do you guys know what Salmon Island eyelash frogs are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was getting them in regularly because Salmon Islands were coming in. I'd get the monkey tails.
Yep.
I'd get the Ugongalis, the big ground skinks from there. I'd get those guys, and you get white line geckos, and you get mangrove monitors, and all the stuff that comes from the Solomon Islands. So each shipment I would get those Solomon Island eyelash frogs because I thought they were really cool frogs, something you don't see very often, really unique looking animal, and they would always be like brown or kind of orangey brown, or sometimes you get one that's really nice orange, kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
And I got a shipment of those once, and they used to come in a milk carton stapled shut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There would be like 6 in each milk carton. And I cracked open this one milk carton and I dumped it out, and there was one as yellow as a lemon, solid yellow, solid. The entire frog was solid bright yellow.
Dude, yes.
And this is before the internet. This is like when the internet was basically in its infancy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I posted a picture of it and I sold it for like $600.
Easily.
Yes.
It was like in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So
man, they're
cool,
so
man.
freaking awesome, dude.
That was probably one of the coolest things that I ever got in a shipment. That was just that, and the very first viper boa I ever saw.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you guys know viper boas,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So the very first one I ever saw, a friend of mine was a wholesaler. He brought it in. He goes, "I got this really nice viper boa. Are you interested in it?" You know, he was wholesaling reptiles at the time, and this came into my pet store probably the one that I was running, 1988. He brings this thing in,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and you know, he puts it down on the counter, and it's basically as orange as a pumpkin, like solid
dude.
orange. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. How much is it? He's like, $90. I'm like, all right, I bought it. I sold it for $199. And the next week I ordered another one. And he brings it, he puts it on the counter, and I'm like, what is this brown thing? He goes, that's a viper boa. And I'm like,
what about the other one?
The first one, yeah. I'm like, where's the orange one? The first one I ever saw was the most amazing one I've ever seen to this day. It was solid pumpkin. It was, I can't even describe how unbelievable it was. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh man.
And I just assumed, because it was the first one I ever saw in my life, I assumed that's what they all look like.
Right.
Oh.
Damn.
That was 4 years before Jeremy was born. Great. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Dude, I can't even imagine. I'd be like so bummed. They'd be like, "Wait, you're telling me that they're all brown? They're not."
Immediately going through sales records, be like, "Find the motherfucker I sold this to. Get it back."
Yeah, I'll give you an extra $50 to take it back.
Yeah.
I looked at the guy and I'm like, "Really? I'm like, this is what it's supposed to look like?"
Yeah, you couldn't have like hinted.
Why didn't you tell me that in the first place?
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't have hinted that this was something special.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Like,
God.
Don't sell this for dirt cheap, or don't sell it at all. You know?
Don't sell it at all would be the way to go.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Viper boas were the second snakes I ever got, which is like, why would you ever do that? I don't know why you would do that. But literally, I got a ball python and I was like looking around at other stuff that stays.
How does that work, Rob? Ball python, viper boa. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was into snakes for a really long time, and I wasn't allowed to get snakes when I was a kid because my dad's terrified of snakes. To this day, he's still afraid of snakes. So I wasn't allowed to get pet snakes until I started high school. And when I started high school, I like wrote my dad this big long like letter being like, "Look, I'm trying to do good in school and blah blah blah. I should get a pet snake." So he let me get the ball python. And after that, I was like, I need other snakes. But I've been studying snakes and, like, reading as much books and everything as I could from when I was 5. So, like, by the time I had actually the ability to keep snakes, I'd already had, like, 10 years of researching snakes under my belt. So I was like, okay, what stays small, isn't going to get super big. I can keep in a relatively small enclosure, so my dad isn't going to freak out about it. And it came down to Solomon Island ground boas and viper boas. And Regal Reptiles at the time had Solomon Island ground boas, and they were like smoking, like super freaking cool, but they were $300 or $500 for the pair of them. And I was like, I am 14 years old, I don't have $300 to throw at that, so I will get the viper boas that are $50 each, because they were like $50 or $75 each at the time. I think they were $75 because I paid $150 for the pair. I got a pair of viper boas. And I had done all my research, so I was like, okay, I got to keep them cooler, I got to keep them more humid. They like to eat lizards and frogs, so I was like all prepared, and I set them up at my house, and I had them, and because they were eating lizards for Regal, and so I was like, okay, cool, that's fine with me, I'll get lizards. So I bought anoles. I tried feeding them anoles, they wouldn't eat. I tried getting house geckos, they wouldn't eat the house geckos. I tried getting tree frogs, they wouldn't eat tree frogs, and I went for like a month and a half or 2 months of them not eating, and I was like, crap, this is my second and third snake, and I'm failing miserably. So during that time where I was trying to get them to eat, I was just like saving up my money and saving up my money and saving up my money. And so I called Regal back, and I had known Sean for a long time at that point because I'd been coming to the Manchester shows and all that sort of stuff. So I know the people who are running Regal for a long time, and I was like, look, I've tried everything that you guys did. I'll show you pictures of my setup. I'll show you, all my parameters and everything. They're just not eating for me. Is there any way I can bring him in and trade him in for something else? And he was like, maybe something. And so I bring him in, and I think I was like the only person in their store that day. It was just like me and my dad. And I was like, look, you guys have had these Solomon Island ground boas forever. I know they're eating rodents for you. I know that you got them priced at X amount. Will you take a little bit less? Because I really want those, but I can't, I don't have as much money. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. We'll trade. And so I had those I traded in the viper boas. I got the Solomon Island ground boas, and I had those things for like 8 or 10 years. And they had them at Regal for 5 or 8 years before I got them, and they were adults when I got them. So they were probably like 30 or 40-year-old Solomon Island ground boas.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and they were great, and I did educational programs with them. I loved those snakes. They were so cool. And the female was like one of those tan ones with like the checkerboard belly, and the male was like a brick red brown color with like these super clean stripes on them. And I just thought those things were the coolest things. And so those ended up being my like next snakes that I got. And then after that, it was like Bloods and Short Tails.
So not only did
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
you jumped the gambit from ball python to Candoya.
Yeah.
But also anybody who got to witness a Candoya at an educational presentation has automatically had one of the coolest educational presentations for reptiles.
I had a lot of other. I didn't have a lot of snakes, so it was like I had the Candoya and I had the ball python, and then I had like bearded dragons, leopard geckos, Chinese water dragon, chameleon, like all the other things that but not a lot of snakes because my dad was terrified of snakes, so I wasn't allowed to have big snakes. I couldn't really, I wasn't crazy about colubrids when I first got into snakes, so I basically just had like that stuff.
Yeah. And I would have freaked out. I would be like, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah.
Like
I had like Amazons, Candoya, and the ball python. Which is super weird. I don't know. I wanted something that was interesting, and I thought those were super interesting. So, and
Candoya were super hot back in the day for a little while when, when they found a bunch of the Santa Isabel ones, the ones that are kind of like white.
Yes. Oh, man.
There was a friend of mine used to really be into those, and it was like a competition with him, and there's another guy from Florida named Jerry Conway.
Yeah.
Jerry Conway bred the heck out of those things, and he had some of those animals were just
outrageous,
spectacular, just white with like burgundy striping. Really cool animals.
Yeah, I heard that he actually just passed away last year, Jerry Conway.
Really?
I did hear that.
I didn't hear that.
It's crazy. He wasn't big on the online and stuff, so I mean, R.I.P. But he had some crazy Candoya back in the day, like Isabel's whites, red stuff, like all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing because, like I said, I started messing around with this stuff in 1986. So, that's 30 plus years. It's kind of a long time, and so many of these people in this business that I've got to know, some that were really, really good friends of mine, and they're starting to pass away, and it's kind of disheartening a little bit. People that taught me so much, with this business. I really got into reptile photography for a while, and one of my best friends was a guy named Zig Lisinski. And if you look through any reptiles magazine you have, 90% of the photos are his.
Oh, wow.
So many photos in there that are just from him, and he taught me the photography, and he just passed away this year, and it was pretty rough. He was a really, really close friend of mine, but seeing all these old herpers, it's really, really kind of disheartening. Not to bring down your show or anything.
No,
it's a reality.
It's crazy because, like, if you've gone to any of the bigger shows, sometimes you get to meet some of those people, and it's like, some of these people set the stage for what we're doing right now. Like getting to meet Dave and Tracy.
You can meet Dave and Tracy. You can meet Tom Crutchfield. You can go talk to him.
Yep.
I'm sure Robbie got to meet Don Hamper at some point.
I did.
All these guys.
Yep. I met Don Hamper, and when we went to Florida earlier this year, we got to meet Eugene Bissett, and it's like, holy crap,
Eugene's a great guy.
Dude, Eugene's awesome, man. Yeah. I was not expecting him to be as chill as he was. I was like, man, he's done all these amazing things. He's going to have he's going to just be like, I am that guy. But he was so chill, and he was just like, he's with
just a down-to-earth guy. He's very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Mark and Kim Bell, they're fun to talk to.
Yeah.
Yep, dude, definitely.
It's just so weird because the next generation of people might not know who some of these people are, but for the people who have been doing it the last 20 years or so, it's like, these people really set the stage or help set the stage for the hobby that we get to enjoy now. And
absolutely.
To be able to meet them and to think that it wasn't that long ago that these people were really, doing it. They were breeding some of the first, ball python combos, or they were breeding, Bill and Kathy Love doing a lot of the corn snake stuff. And it's just crazy to have met those people who were, who set that all up.
You guys get to work with Kevin or everything. Kevin's right there. Kevin was at all these very first shows. I remember, seeing Kevin and talking to him. I remember a friend of mine was a lunatic and tried to get every Indian python he could when they were able to be traded. And I remember he bought one from Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
The first Pottstown show or the second Pottstown show.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
I go on rants fairly often when it comes to this topic, especially looking at where the industry has gone thanks to the course of social media, and just there's a sheer, I think almost just total disconnect from the realization of a lot of the people that really set the stage for what the industry is now are still with us, and certainly not everybody is, but there's enough of those people, and a lot of those guys are on social media. Tom Crutchfield's very, very active on social media compared to
Yeah.
most of the other old school herpers. But like reaching out to these guys and asking a question is comparatively what it was 20 years ago, very easy to do now, you know. And I mean, it's hard to beat, you know, trying to get your information from literally like the founding source of so much of what we're doing. And like there's like a total disregard for that. It's like, no, I watched this YouTube video. I think I figured it out. Or I'm a part of like 100 Facebook pages and groups. So like, I know everything now, you know, like it's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I watched a YouTube video from some guy that started keeping reptiles 73 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows everything.
He read all of the Petco care sheets before he left, and he's got it down.
He worked at PetSmart for a couple months. And, he's good.
My videos are trash.
He did the companion animal training for all of 20 minutes, and he's good to go.
Dude, my videos are junk because I got turned away from Petco. So, when I was younger, I applied for a job at Petco, and they were like, "Yeah, no, you can't work here."
Damn.
I was like, I just want to work in the reptile section. They're like, no, you're too overqualified for this job. I was like, I'm 17. What do you mean I'm overqualified for this job?
Yeah. And they're like, you know the scientific names to everything off the top of your head, and that intimidates us.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was, dude. It was not good.
Oh boy,
not good at all.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame with some of my friends. You know scientific name everything.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's why me and you can vibe, because I know a lot of scientific names, and people are like, can you just tell me the common name on the and I'm like, I can't think of the common name for it, okay?
Yeah. There have been many times Rob has talked to me about something that's really exciting to him, and especially if it's a tarantula, and I'm like, sure, bro.
Yeah, that's cool.
I want to agree that what you're talking about is cool, but I have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
I know all the fish too, though, so I get on my nerves, on my wife's nerves when we go to like the aquarium as a family or something. You know, it doesn't go over well.
Oh my God!
I'll tell you though, my wife got so sick of hearing me, you know, with the scientific names of everything, that she came home from work one day. She drove down the Garden State Parkway in New Jersey, and she came home and she comes in the house and she goes, "You're never going to guess what I saw on the Parkway." And I said, "What?" And she said, "There was an Otocoilus virginiensis being eaten by a Cathartes aura."
And you're like,
which
baby.
is a white-tailed deer that got hit by a car being eaten by a turkey vulture. And she told me that, and I'm like, this is my wife's shining moment right now.
You're like, hold on, let me record this, say it again.
Names that I annoyed her with.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
That is so cool.
That is amazing. I remember when I went through like a point in my time where I just used scientific names for everything. And I got to a point where I had literally annoyed everybody in my household, and my mom was very supportive and like all into my reptile stuff, but she was like, if you don't fucking start using English, I'm not helping you. I'm done helping you. That's it. Game over. Get your ass to expos some other way.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I definitely had a moment like that with my mom, where she was like, because we used to do educational programs all the time. And so when I would do the programs, I'd be like, yeah, so this is a Salmon Grovo, it's Candolia pulsona. And she'd be like, English, stop it. People don't know what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, but you have to know.
You should know, though.
You have to know.
Yeah, please.
Much.
Please retain this information.
Yeah. And then they're like, I like the one named Marshmallow. And I'm like,
Yeah, I know all the fish, so I can get on my employees' nerves in the store too sometimes.
That's a great way to just confuse the shit out of your employees and make them feel bad.
I mean, I think it's important with the fish though, because there's so many very similar species that like.
Yeah, and there's 6 common names for one thing, you know.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yep, that's real. Oh man! All right, so we're approaching that time where we're gonna end today's episode, but before we do, we ask everybody one final question, and that question is, what in the world of reptile, be it in your own personal collection or anything that you've kind of just seen on the interwebs or anything, what in the world of reptile has you excited?
Oh, this is geared at me?
Yes.
Yeah.
What has me excited? I mean, I'm kind of excited about the fact that colubrids are making a comeback and there's more of them available, because I do want to rebuild my collection of that stuff. And, there's some animals that I'm searching out that I'm hoping to find. And, I don't want to just find whatever. I want to find really nice ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So getting more opportunity to find some of those species that I want to work with again, that I've worked with before. That's kind of got me excited. That's what I'm looking forward to as far as this business goes. I mean, I have a lot going on, because I still wholesale pet stores and I have a retail store, and I still do reptile shows if they ever happen again. So,
fucking COVID.
Right.
So I have, so I do have a lot going on, but the thing that I like the most is, like I said, breeding the animals and seeing them hatch, and kind of not much beats that. That's kind of the most exciting thing for me with the whole reptile business.
100%.
Hell yeah.
So, if people want to find out more about you and your business and what you're doing, where should they look you up?
Look us up on, we have a website, but it's just basically a landing page. It's not that great. It's www.majorleagueexoticpets.com. And then we have a Facebook page at MLE Pets, and we have an Instagram page at Major League Exotic Pets. So those probably would be the best places to go, I would say. If you're in the New Jersey area, we're located in Jackson, New Jersey. So you can come check us out.
Go visit. Wear a mask.
Yes, wear a mask. Socially distanced, but
you can come in, but you got to wear a mask. It says so on the door.
That's right. That's right. Follow the printed signs. Oh, man. Alan, thank you so much for chatting with us, man. We really appreciate it. Love geeking out.
Thanks, guys. I enjoyed talking to you and, bringing up some things from the past that are, I like to tell stories from the past. I got many more of them.
Oh, yeah, man. We'll have to have you back on again. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.